when Dave died, he left me his guns, and I never knew he owned this gun, but it was left for me. It is a really cool gun. It's a Pump 22, a Stevens Pump 22. It's pretty cool. I haven't really gone through the guns too much because they bring back some old memories, but I started having a chipmunk problem. I went in the kitchen the other day and there's one on the kitchen table. A little while later I ran into one in the living room. And I don't mind them in the yard, don't like them in the house. So I set up outside the basement where they were getting in with Dave's old 22. And I got a few of them. This is a really cool gun. I've never seen one like this before. I looked it up online. It's a Stevens. And it said they were made from 1907 to 1932. So it's a pretty old gun. It's kind of cool in that when you pump it, I don't know if I can get this on film here. Watch right here. I pump it. The bullet comes out free floating. See that? And then it goes into the barrel and it leaves the hammer cocked. There's no safety or anything. You just got to uncock it. But works flawlessly. It's a pretty good gun. I like it. Any of you guys ever see one like this? Leave a comment below. This is the first one I've ever seen. 22 pump. Cool gun. Oh yeah, he also had bullets to go with it that were in a leather case that I think have been around for a long, long time. I actually think that gun and the bullets were probably his mom's at some point in time, years and years and years ago. But these 22 bullets were in there, real old bullets, but they're still firing. That's what I just shot. Kind of hate to shoot them up because I googled these as well when I googled the gun, and this particular box is selling on eBay, just the box alone without the bullets. I don't know, there's something about shooting the bullets that means something to me, so it means more than the money, so I'm probably going to shoot up all the bullets that are in that leather case. I've killed a lot of bears over the years. Some really big ones in Wisconsin, Minnesota. And I really like bear hunting, as most of you know. But I've had one place in one area where I struggle. And ironically, it's the closest place to my home. And that's west central Wisconsin, maybe a little bit of west northern Wisconsin, over by like Neilsville, Black River Falls, right in between those two towns in Wisconsin. That area has a lot of bears and a lot of big bears, but it's 2 hours from my home. Actually, maybe more like 2.5, 3 hours from my home. So I went on a quest to kill a big bear in that area, and I've hunted there 5, 6 times now. I came away with a whopping 0 bears, and usually I'm pretty good at killing bears. And I get on them really good over there, get on big bears, but I have a hard time holding them on baits. I got one shot at a giant over there that just kept me going back, but I hit a little limb between me and that bear and didn't get him when I was on a hunt with Tyler Witt. But I know what my issue is. My issue is Wisconsin has a 10-gallon limit on bait. And if you put 2 5-gallon buckets out at a bait and you wait a week to bait it, that bear and those bears in that area are going to run out of that bait in 2 days. And they're going to go searching, and there's a lot of hunting pressure in that area. So they're going to find other baits. They're going to find other food sources. And then you got to pull them back. And during the summer when there ain't many people baiting, I can hold bears on those baits. But come close to, opening week, it is hard with all the competition to hold bears in your bait. couple that in with acorns dropping and crops ripening and stuff like that, and it can be downright tough. But if you use quality baits, you can hold a bear through all that other stuff if you're in the right areas. If your baits are in the tangles and stuff where those bears live, down in those cool swamps. Now if you're baiting out in open hardwoods, you're going to suddenly lose your bears come season because of acorns and stuff like that. But if you can put that bait right where those bears want to live and want to bed and want to sleep, and the big boars can guard the bait, you can be on bears the whole bear season. So what I needed to do was to bait every other day, at least once every 3 days, and keep that bait going. Keep those bears fed. And that way I could put less bait out and have the bear come in and feed and get used to every time he comes back there's new food. So I was on a quest to find somebody in that area. I went through a few people. That didn't work out, trying to find somebody who could bait for me. And I started getting connected with some people just recently that could help me. And then finally I chose this outfitter who has a little bit of time on his hand and had some open spots to bait for me when he was willing to bait my spots. That really meant a lot to me because I want those spots to pay off. It's like a quest. It's been years and years of trying to hunt those spots that me and Chris Conroy originally put in. And you know, I went out and I showed him those spots, and it was amazing because this old coot had been back in those woods and knew where my spots were. He actually said, "Oh, your spot is up on that hill up there. You got that real big stump?" And I says, "Yeah." You know, that spot, it's like a mile from the road. He knew about it. Small world that we connected. You found my spots.
Well, I found your spot. I mean, it was like, God, I want to say it was at least 4 years ago, I think it was, or 3 or 4 years ago. I remember seeing a great big stump there. And I had a buddy with me that helps me out, you know, when I'm gone, he'll run the baits for me. But I looked at that and I said, man, I said, I don't know who it is that brought that stump in, but I said, they had to be, I mean, I actually thought there had to be like 4 people to carry that in, because it was green at that time.
Oh yeah, I carried it back there. It was heavy.
Oh my gosh.
He knows those woods like the back of his hand, and he's spread over a huge area. Now this guy, don't let his looks fool you. The guy is a killer. He's got a wall full of Pope and Youngs, big bears, big elk, and he's been doing this for years and years on public land. So getting to him to help me with the baits is a good thing. And he has some real big bears coming in on his baits, and if something don't work out for me, he's willing to let me shift over and hunt on some of his baits. Got a little everything in there, huh?
Oh yeah, yep.
Some cookies,
M&Ms,
cones, granola,
peppermint, yep.
nuts.
That's why I call it my own special trail mix.
Candy, yeah. They should like that. It's
Yep.
nice and heavy too.
Yeah.
To fill them up.
And there's white chocolate covered pretzels. A little bit of everything. I have my hitch all back here, so I don't have to.
The guide I have baiting for me is Jeff Johnson. If you're looking for a bear hunt in Wisconsin, give him a call. He can help you out. He's in Zone C. It usually takes 1 to 3 years to get a tag there, but I know people who have gotten a tag the first year they applied too. So if you're looking for a hunt, check him out, or if you got points built up in Wisconsin, or if you have a Zone T tag for this year, I think he's got openings yet. Now I'm mainly just interested in big bears, but Rick's coming too, and Rick's interested in getting a bear. I mean, he wants a big bear, don't we all? But he wants to get a bear. He's never shot a bear. He came with me last year when we hunted Minnesota, and he got to see everybody get bears and get action. me another one. And I know he's excited about bear hunting. And there's nothing he would like to do more than get a bear a little bit bigger than me. But this ain't Minnesota, and let's see if we can even get one. We headed into the first bait, a bait I call Dam 1. And that bait is really remote. It's back about a mile. And it was interesting that Jeff knew exactly where that bait was. He'd been there before. He'd been that deep in that particular woods, out scouting for bears, hunting for deer, and he was able to take the lead to this bait that was so remote, I didn't think many people in that area knew about it. I bet you there's a lot of people that hunt that woods for a lifetime that don't know that bait's there. He knew it was there. This is a spot we used to hunt a couple years back. We had some really big bears that come out of this thicket back in here. The old stump is rotted on the pieces. Jeff's going to keep this one baited and we're going to see what happens. You like this spot, Jeff?
Yeah, really good spot. You're mostly concentrating up against that clear cut. You got
Yeah.
the water on the side, nice little funnel.
The bears seem to come from that way, but they circle in from down here.
They probably got their den somewhere in that clear cut.
You know, they'd circle around it and come in and
Yep.
still see the old bear trail here.
Now, since it's a first time set for this year, we're going to really scent it down good.
Good. Still see oil on the trees and the bite marks up here. You know how high those are.
That's a boar.
Yeah, we had some big bears.
Oh, wow.
You still see fresh scratches. They've been coming back. Check
Yeah.
it. See that?
Yeah.
Where the oil is, this is fresh.
Yep. See all the baits that I've got? It's got like 8 or 9 trees around there. Same thing.
Yep.
You bait them for 3-4 years, they make it they'll come back all the time.
So what are you using there?
This is a oil-based cherry. So that way there, if it rains, it doesn't lose the scent, doesn't wash it away, it'll still stay
Yep.
on there.
Now soak into the tree. Like you can see, the bears have been coming back, and I use cherry too. It's kind of ironic that you use the same scent,
Well, you go with what works.
right?
Get the scent out.
What do you got here?
This is liquid smoke.
Okay.
What we do is get the scent out and when it's dinner time. I didn't know you had such a good smelling bear bait.
Smells
should do
good. Smells like a sausage house in here.
Yeah, exactly. But boy, it brings them in. I've had good luck with it.
Ooh, I can smell it. Ooh.
See?
Yeah.
So they're going to smell that from about 2 miles away.
Nice. Where are you gonna put the camera? We always put it back here, and up a little high, so cubs didn't get it. So you can do what you want.
Yeah. Okay. Like I say, I'll try to get that out here right away. And then by the time I get back from the trip, then
Yeah. See what happened. Yeah.
we'll call this, what do you want to call this one, Dan 1?
That's fine.
And then when I get pictures, I can always send them to you so you know
Yeah.
what's going
Cool.
on. Why.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay.
All right.
Well, let's go to the next.
We've been hunting this bait for years, and there's one bear that comes in, this sow, and it usually has cubs, but it is a giant sow. And this bear has been coming to that bait for years and years, and you don't bait there for a couple years, start baiting again, it comes back. And That bear is a monstrosity of a sow. One of the biggest sows I've ever seen. There's always been a few good boars that come into this bait too. And they'll get a pattern going, and then you run out of bait and they disappear for a while. And then you get them back and they get a pattern going, and then you get in a hunt and they disappear because of the bait situation. We got one decent bear to hit this bait in the first couple of days of it being set. The next spot was a couple miles down the road. We call that spot Dam 2. And that spot, we actually have to leave the gravel road on an old logging road that's washed out. It's got some really bad spots. You need four-wheel drive to get back there. And you got to go about a mile down this road, this logging road, way back down until it starts turning into swamp. And then you get out of the truck and take a like ATV path in, you know, a few hundred yards, and then turn into a swamp and go in where these bears live. Now that spot I've got some history with too. That's a spot I picked out, and there was always a nice boar that came into that spot, and he was getting pretty good on the last time we hunted, which was probably 3 years ago, and he was probably in the 300-pound range then. Jack talked me into trying the ones with the zipper.
I see that.
Yeah. Let's see how
What I
like
do
it.
like about it though is the inner flaps, so you really don't have to worry about
Yeah.
it
My
being.
problem was I don't want something that's going to break.
But look
and-
at how heavy duty that is.
That's what he said. He said they're really heavy duty. They don't really break. So I'll give them a shot. What is nice is they tighten around your ankles and stuff. You know, you pull them up and now you got a tight boot. So
You
they're
can
nice and
tighten the
high.
top too.
you know the old boots are down to here.
Yep.
Get a little extra height for the water. All right.
Where do you normally set your stand with that?
I'm looking. We weren't actually, but it was too close. We could get into that tree here. Which way is west?
A couple perfect trees here. Might have to do a little bit of trimming, but I'd say move your bait like right out from here.
What do we got for
About
wind
where
here?
you're standing.
Yeah, there or there, right? Because now you got that tree's pretty good.
Dan, west is that way.
Yeah, that would make that tree really good right there. If I
Yep.
just trimmed a hole in it, right?
Right there.
And we could put the bait right here.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. Okay. Leave that stump for you.
I like to have my fun doing this. I was going to try to get to a practical bit.
Yeah.
I said, are you going to be comfortable with a 15-yard shot?
It's a little far for me.
Yeah. You're like me, you're really having that two steps.
Yeah.
I had a 500-pounder try to climb the tree with me 2 years ago. Bear.
Nice.
Oh man, I'll tell you what,
Adventure.
that gets your heart going. Believe it or not, she followed my deer drag in.
Oh, you probably had your footsteps up the. Yeah. So this is where we used to hunt in here, right up in here, and we had a bait right here. It was a little close, and we had a really big bear coming in here quite a bit. So I don't know if he's still around, but there should be bears in here. This is all swampy down low. It's higher ground. See what Jeff thinks of this. He's a pretty experienced guy with this stuff. How you like this spot, Jeff?
I love this spot. It looks good. Thing is, you're tucked right up against that thicket. That's probably where they're going to come out.
Yeah, they would come right out of that thick.
Yep.
Yep. This bear liked to circle a lot, though. He actually circled into the hardwoods a lot to catch the wind. He'd bust you when you're hunting. So we'd be sitting there, and the bear would come from back there, and you'd hear him come around like this. And he'd end up over there and smell you if the wind was blowing that way. You getting that for a crib? You need a hand? Yeah, you got that, or you want me to grab that?
What I'll do is too, I normally like to put rocks on mine.
Yeah.
When you come in next time, if there's a rock on it, don't be too concerned.
Yeah.
Okay.
I like to keep the raccoons from knocking them over.
I get that.
Right now we're just improvising.
You marked this tree too. That's what we marked it in the past, and they used that one right there.
Yeah, that's what I was looking for, was a marking tree. Just don't stand downwind when you're going.
Oh, I'm telling you.
You can tell when I'm baiting steady. I mean, I smell like liquid smoke all the time.
Yeah. Coming out from that bait, we found a real big boar track. That was a good sign. So we're about, what do you think, Jeff? 75, 100 yards from that bear bait?
75, yeah.
75 yards. We just found this track here, and that's got, geez, about a 5-inch pad. I'd say that's a good bear, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a pretty
I
good
think
size
it's
bear.
at least a 350. 350
Yeah,
might be my guess.
It's pretty, it's sinking in pretty deep too.
Yeah.
Can you make that out on the camera or no?
Yeah, I already brought it down there.
I don't know. Sometimes
Oh,
camera
yeah.
gets a different view of it, but that's a,
It's showing.
yeah. Let me lay a dollar next to it once, it'll show it a little better.
Definitely a shooter bear.
So, like that. So that pad is, you know, just shy, a half-inch shy of $1. And I think $1 is 6 inches. That's a good bear. That's a shooter for sure.
Yeah.
Cool. You know what you do with that when it's on a main trail like this? You go like this. Just like that. There's no track there no more. That way if somebody else walks back here, they're not seeing it. And that had a real big bear that would constantly come into it. A few years in a row. It's probably the same bear. He probably owns this area. You see the same bears over and over again on those baits
Yep.
year after year, right?
Yep.
Yeah, me
Yep.
too.
Especially the bigger bear. They don't like to roam too much. They'll
Right.
stay in their-
Yeah, little ones
they'll-
just show up
yeah,
everywhere.
They'll stay in their own quarter.
Yeah. Well, that's a good sign.
That's yeah. Yesterday when I was out, I had 2 of my baits.
Within the first couple of days, we had bears on this spot. What I know from the past is that big boar would circle that bait a lot before he got the courage to come in. And it might take a week or maybe even 2 for him to start hitting. But I guarantee after seeing his track, I know he's still there. He'll be hitting that bait.
The only problem I see with these spots, Dan, is me getting back here with my vehicle.
You should get a hunting vehicle.
There's no way I'd get back here with my vehicle.
Just go really fast through this stuff.
Yeah, I've heard that before. That's how you get the pinstriping, right?
Yeah. Minnesota pinstripe. The next spot we baited was the buck bait. And the reason it's called the buck bait is when I was baiting that, there was a huge buck coming into the bait. Every time a bear would open it, this buck would come in and eat the bread and the donuts and such as soon as it was open. And that buck just kept growing and growing and growing, and turned out to be an 18-point, 200 and some inch buck that was coming in on a regular basis. If you haven't seen the story on that, look back in the posts and find the video called Bear Bait Buck. Now, as far as bears go, this bait really didn't have a lot of big bears on it. It would get the occasional big bear, but it had a lot of bears. They kind of just trafficked it through here, and they'd stick around for a while when the bait was there, but a lot of smaller ones. But I have to think it has the potential to hold a big bear, and it's worth keeping baited since it's in the same area as Dam 1 and Dam 2 bait. What's interesting is this is about 2 miles from Dam Bait 1, and every now and then the giant sow would disappear on Dam Bait 1 and would show up on the buck bait. It is interesting to note that the same bears would show up on these same baits year after year. Even 2-3 years without baiting, put the bait back out, the same big boars would show up, the same big sows. Now the young bears, they float around, but the big ones would get settled in areas. This is the bear bait buck spot. See the old stumps all busted up. Jeff's going to bait this one too, he says. Doesn't look like we've had any visitors here. There's no flying or nothing, but this always had a lot of activity. It's a good spot. Still getting to that old tree over here, this big oak tree. And not have to get near the bait, just kind of slide into it from over there. Within a week, the buck bait got hit too, and it has a pretty good bear hidden. I'd be happy to shoot this one. I'm really looking forward to this bear season with Rick and with Jeff, and I'm so appreciative that I have Jeff's help me keep those baited, to see if that unjinxes me, fixes my issue with these bears by keeping them in the areas that it baits. So if you like bear hunting, come along for the ride. Should be a good series of videos, should be fun. Let's go get that bear. We're up here in northwestern Wisconsin with Jeff Johnson here, Guides for Clients.
Yep.
And he's going to be helping me run my baits this year, and I'm going to hunt some of his, and he's going to help me bait mine. And Jeff is a really good cat, and this should be a fun time. You want to tell me a little bit about how you choose a spot for bear?
Okay. Usually I go out and do a lot of scouting and everything else. I look for the bear sign and everything, and then whitetail hunting, I listen to my buddies and stuff where they see the bear. I go check the areas out. And I like areas like along the creeks, along the swamps, by the hardwoods where you can bring them out and get clear shots at them.
Kind of same as me.
Yeah.
You want the thick areas where they live, and you want to hunt adjacent to them.
Yep, and just transition areas between the two.
Yeah.
Okay,
Nice bear.
so you're looking at between this tree and that tree.
Yeah, that's a good bear.
The camera was right here. The camera was on that pine right there.
Yeah, it looks like a long bear.
So you can
over
see how
6
he
foot.
stuck out on the back and on the front. And that's between this tree and that tree.
Yeah.
And that's a
Good
big bear.
yeah.
And that's daytime.
Yeah, that's a big bear.
See that? He's rubbing on this tree right here. I mean, he's taller. He's taller than what I can reach.
Wow.
And he comes in very often.
I see a lot of people make the mistake of putting baits way out in the middle of those thick areas, and then they got to walk through bears and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But if you get to those edges, even if you go through thick, but then you get to that thick edge that's even thicker, that's in there, that's where they're going to come from.
Yep, and you're just disturbing them and kicking them out of there,
Right,
and then they're going to
yep.
be a lot weary to come back.
I really like
Yeah,
that the baits we're looking at too are real remote. I'm used to guides
Yeah.
really putting
Well-
them close to roads that are efficient. and
Yeah, well,
it might be efficient for them, but not so much for me
Yeah,
as
I
the
showed
hunter.
you some that were really remote, but a lot of mine are in areas like this. I mean, out away from people. Out away
Yeah, I
from
like that.
traffic.
I like that a lot. I don't like the ones that are right on the side of a road.
Yeah,
You kind of lose the whole experience out of that anyways.
yeah. Well, I mean, just listen. You might hear a four-wheeler way off in the distance, but that's it. But then I do have some that are a little bit easier to get in, so if a person has like a limited mobility, I can get them in on bear.
Yeah, you said you had some vets that hunted
Yeah,
with you. And
I take a vet in at least one every year as free as charge, just to get a veteran out there to show our appreciation.
yeah.
And I like taking younger kids, the kids first time bear hunting and stuff. But
So
Yeah,
how
they
long does
take
it take
it.
to get a tag up here?
well, once every 3 years is about average right now. Here in Zone C, we have quite a lot of good bear population. There's a lot more tags handed out in Zone C.
So how often are you baiting?
When it comes up to start baiting, I like to bait at least every 3 days. And then when it gets closer to bear season, like a week before opener, I'll come in every other day.
Okay. So if you get a client, what does he expect? Is he going to go to a campground that's near you?
You can go to the campground, but I do have, like I say, the campground not too far from me where I usually put my clients. And it's convenient to the bear baits. Everything's usually within 10 miles from the campground. And then, of course, you've seen today we went up to the sport shop there, that Perfect 10, and I got to deal with him. If my clients are bow hunters or gun hunters, they have any issues, I can give him a call. We can get it rectified right away and get the hunters back out on the stand.
That Perfect 10 archery shop, what was interesting to me is I looked around the wall and there's a whole bunch of big bucks there. And I found out one guy shot most of those.
Well,
You know
yeah.
that guy?
I might know him. No, I put a lot of my mounts up there.
Yeah, that's quite the collection.
Yeah,
You done good. Get a couple of elk too, and
yeah.
yeah, and
I've
you
got-
do all public land like
Yep,
we do.
All public
Yeah.
land. Yep. Yeah, it's better that way. I mean, I just enjoy being out here in the outdoors and getting people out here. I'm just as excited as the person that shot the bear or the deer.
Yeah,
I get them.
yeah, this is gonna be fun.
Yeah, it's going to be enjoyable working with you.
So a client can expect to get 1-2 baits, or
Each client, I try to set up at least 2 baits for every client. They can choose whatever one they want to set on. And I will not set them on a mediocre bait. It'll always be a bait that are being hit. And if for some instance that, I need a third one for them, I'll have, a couple extra that I can always move them over on another one. I'll do my best to get them on bear.
Jeff's a little old school. He doesn't have Facebook or a website or
Nope,
anything,
nope, just
And-
word of mouth.
and because of that, there's a lot of openings.
Oh, yeah.
So
Yep. So right now, like I say, this year here, I mean, I've got at least 5 openings yet this year, but they could fill fast. But yeah, I'm just taking it slow and building it up
yeah, I'm really looking forward to this. Sounds like a fun time, and
too.
it really saves me because I was trying to do it yourself. I do a lot of
Yeah.
do it yourself,
Yep.
and it's a 3-hour ride up here.
Yeah.
And I would come up on a weekend, and I put out the maximum amount of bait, and they'd come and eat it in 2 days,
Yeah.
and there's no bait for a while. And it would work for a while, but then when outfitters would come in around me and they got bait there every day or every other day, the birds would just move.
Yep.
And I couldn't beat that. I tried it with really premium baits like you're using,
Yep. Well,
and I tried to really hold them. And I got some close calls. I had some big bears coming in, but I've shot a few bears. But it's been a hard nut to crack because of that distance I got to travel and the amount of bait I can put out.
And what do we find out? Your bear baits were only within 15, 20 miles of a hole.
In the state of Wisconsin, anybody can spend $50 and become a bear guide. And because of that, there's a lot of shoddy guides. And I don't mean it to be disrespectful or anything, but I mean a lot of guys think they know their crap and they don't. Finding somebody good like Jeff that knows the land, knows the bears, and has actually walked the walk
Yep.
is a good thing. And then finding somebody who's, not way overly priced and has openings is hard too,
Yeah.
because you know a lot of the really good guides are really high priced, and you got to wait 3 or 4 years. You got to pay in advance, it's up and down. And
It's gonna be my first year bear hunting.
yeah, Rick's it's gonna be his first bear, so we want to show him what it's like not to get a bear.
No, no, no.
Not if I can help.
I'm gonna get a bigger bear than Dan. That's the goal.
No, I want to see Rick get a bear, and for sure. And you know, I'm gonna try and hold out for something big, you know, or at least decent. And if I get one, I get one. If I don't, I don't. But I'd really like to.
Yeah.
And I'd like to beat this nut over here, and it should be fun.
I want to be around if he does beat you.
Yeah, oh,
You
yeah,
will be.
He'll let me know.
Yeah.
For sure.
Absolutely.
You think his chest will get a little
Oh, yeah,
bigger? Oh, okay. Oh, I want to be there. But
You're gonna fit in with us good.